Okay kids, don't adjust your heads. It is on its side and I'm filming on its side. It's a Yamaha B100 solid state base head. I think it's solid state anyway. It's here because it was said to have been a fuse blower. It blows fuses. But the fuses in it are good and it doesn't turn on. So I guess I gotta take it apart. That's cool. It comes with 3 spiders. Kind of a cool heatsink thing there. Plywood chassis. Or plywood cabinet, I should say, or whatever. Yep. There's another fuse there. I think that's just a spare, and then there's another one on that board. Wonder if any of these are blown up. I don't know. This doesn't seem like too complicated of a setup. I just hope the power transformer isn't exploded, because that would suck. Okay, so I think I know what's wrong. There's actually a second fuse past this first fuse. So this fuse was open, so there must have been some kind of yucky dead short. Or this is some like advanced fuse to, I don't know, make sure that you don't keep just changing the fuse and cranking the power up. So as you can see, I put a jumper across it so current could flow. And then I crept it up on the variac a little bit, and by the time I got to about 70-ish volts, you can feel it in the variac. The variac transformer, if there's a lot of amperage on it, it vibrates, right? So I felt it kind of vibrating, and then here's the heatsink for our unit, and put my hand on this side of the heatsink, and she's warm. Put my hand on this side of the heatsink, and it's cold. So we got a shorted transistor over here. I'll bet you 50 cents. I'm not a gambling man, but I'm pretty certain. Plus, if this is 70s, these caps are older than dirt. Okay, so this has 2 NPN 2SC1586. They seem to be fairly available-ish from questionable sources, of course. There is an NTE equivalent that's not a dead match on the spec sheet, so I don't like that. But we have a lot of ancient capacitors on here, so I think I'll probably work on those for a while. Okay, fast forward a couple days. I was able to procure what are allegedly the correct transistors according to the manufacturer from a surplus supplier, and all new electrolytic capacitors throughout the entire amplifier. One would say, well, you should have just tested some. I did. I tested a sample of them. And if we're going with the usual is it bad kind of thing, the manufacturers state 20% over, 10% under, and we're talking things that were like 40 or 50% under, or 100% over, or they were all over the place. So fresh that up, and now we get to put it back together and see if it explodes. Okay kids, so I did decide to run this on a reduced voltage. We're running on maybe 80 or 90 volts. Some solid state amps won't balance unless you really crank them, but this one had a dead shorted side here. Oops, I'm giving it the finger. And of course one of these 2 transistors was getting red hot, and that's not happening now. Still dirty, but we can look inside and we have all these lovely new caps, like these 470 microfarads that the original ones were only at like 300 and something. That inline fuse has been changed. New caps, lots and lots of new caps, new caps, new caps. And does it make a noise? The answer is yeah, it does. And this is at a reduced voltage, mind you. So at this point I think we can clean the pots and clean the amp, because the amp is kind of dirty, and then we're gonna, you know, do the happy dance. So we'll put the rest of the potentiometers in there. I should probably check the tone stack and make sure that works. So let's see. Let's start with our noise here. Noise, right? Noise. noise. Okay, now this will be one of the tone knobs. That should be the bass tone knob, so that should have made it more buzzy. Yep, that's the bass tone knob, that works. Middle tone knob at max and at min. Okay, and then this is the treble tone knob. That's off. That's max. This is a bright knob. Okay, so that's like high treble, right? That's working, and then there's some distortion circuit. Okay, I turned that on. Yeah, that's a distortion circuit. Okay, cool. So nothing more really needs to be addressed up here other than cleaning the pots. And there's no smoke, there's no bad here. And just turn up the voltage a little bit more, make sure she runs at full voltage, and let it cook for a couple minutes, and then we're ready to test. Okay, no need to adjust your head. The amplifier is sideways because we're jonesing for space around here. I've got it plugged into one of my custom bass cabs because that's what's here and what's made for bass. So. I had it on the neck pickup. I wanted to have it on the bridge, or both of them together. Okay, cool. So that's moving plenty of air, and then I don't know, it seems like the bright is a little too bright and the high is a little high, and whatever. Let's try that. Yeah, I actually like the harmonic this plays. That bright switch just seems a little too much for me. But if I leave the bright off, I'm happy. So our volume level's like at 1 and it's plenty loud. And then let's check this distortion circuit. It's a fuzz box is what it is. So we'll put that at half. It seems to cause the volume to drop a bit, but that's the fuzz box anyway. Let's give it a little bit more gusto here and see if we can scare the neighbors. Oh yes, the other things in our work layer are rattling now. Resonant frequency of the room. That one's not, but when you play it on the lower string, everything in the basement goes wobbly jubbly. Well, they say this is a 100-watt bass amp, and we're not turned up very loud. Now, granted, this bass does have a lot of output, but yeah, this is working. Very, very quiet when not playing, and very, very strong when playing. So I see nothing further I need to do to this other than to take it back and present it to the music store as repaired, with an invoice, because that was a lot of capacitors. And the big pile of fallen soldiers. One of those two transistors isn't shorted, but you know, and lots of capacitors that are so far out of spec that they shouldn't be in any circuit, but you know, you can't throw them away because that would wreck the original mojo of the amp. That's what I read on the forums anyway. Alright, thanks for watching, have a great day.